couple of years ago is when we first, embarked on the journey. I was asking myself, I don't want to be feeling overweight and having no energy and, having no confidence and not feeling attractive about myself throughout my 30s. I want to be, I want to be enjoying them. I want to be able to walk up to any woman I want and talk to them because I feel good about myself, feel confident, feel strong, and that's what it's what any male wants, really. They want to feel confident, they want to feel attractive, they want to feel strong, they want to feel motivated. And it all starts with, fixing what's going on up here regarding what you think about working out and health and eating and all of that stuff, and leaving your ego at the door.
All right. Hi, everyone. Aaron Darko here from healthmastery.net and Alpha Shredding. And I'm here with my client, my friend, Mr. Phaibion Royal. What's up, man?
How's it going, bro? Thanks so much for having me here today. Appreciate it.
And so, you started out about a couple of years ago now, and you were coming off a vegan diet. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. And then you were, I remember our first call together, and you were just like, you weren't really sure of what to do. You didn't really have much confidence, and you were just looking for some sort of guidance, some sort of coaching. And you wasn't really training much, right?
Yeah, that's correct, bro. I was in a spiral of sort of, neglecting my health over my business, basically. And I just sort of had this tunnel vision mindset, got to make the money, got to succeed as an entrepreneur, got to do this, got to do that. And I really had to sort of look inside myself and think, if I don't start making some significant changes with regards to my health, what am I going to look like or feel like or be like in the next 10 years, which is why I consulted you for your advice in the first place.
Mm. And I remember like you said something on the call. I remember, I actually wrote it down. You said, I want to squeeze the juice out of every minute. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I do remember saying that.
Yeah, I was like, that's a cool line. Like, I wrote that down because I remember that. And that's like, so for people listening, like that's where you were. And then what were the changes that you made and to make the changes? Like right now, I mean, look, your chest is like bulging out of your shirt. Like, what are the changes that you made?
Oh, I'm feeling flattered. But no, seriously, bro, it was just consulting you mainly, getting advice from somebody that's been there, that's walked the path,
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to learning anything. And implementing any change in your life. You've got to go and consult somebody or find somebody that's walking the path and talking the talk. So me and you had that conversation, and I started eating right. The first thing I did is change my diet, change what I was putting in my mouth, and I started to see changes just off that alone in terms of a little bit of the weight started coming off, and I was feeling better. I had more energy. I was able to concentrate for longer. I think one of the key things that we did talk about is that as an entrepreneur, sometimes you get that brain fog. And I didn't know at the time that a lot of that was because of what I was doing to my body. I wasn't fueling myself correctly. So the first change I made was, changing what I was putting in my mouth, and staying hydrated was one of the main things that I did. And then from there going forward, we started implementing, a basic training program together, and I started putting on some muscle and just feeling better about myself overall, and that began to ripple into different areas of my life because of how I was feeling. I was making better decisions in relationships with family members and friends and colleagues and stuff like that, and it helped me make better decisions in my business, in terms of the directions that I wanted to go in or what kind of people I wanted to align myself with and stuff like that. So it all started with putting the right things in my body, and then it sort of rippled into everything from there going forward, really.
And that's a big one. I remember when you like first filled out the form and then we got on the call. Remember, your business wasn't doing well at the time. Like you weren't killing it and in business at the time. And it also coincided with the fact that you weren't feeling good about your body either. And then the business success is, I think a lot of people are interested in that because, especially for entrepreneurs, they really can't see the link between their health and business. A lot of entrepreneurs, you know this, like they're overweight and they're just like, yeah, I just need to work more, I need to make more money. But then like they get to like 40 years old and they look back and they're like, oh, fuck, I just like spent all that time making money and now I've got bad joints, got bad back, like got belly that's growing every year. And so you obviously didn't want to be that guy, and you transformed your health now. So how did that affect the business?
My business got to the stage where it's never been before, bro. Like I took it from struggling to within a year. I think I spent the best part of a year out in Bali. I took it from sort of, let me backtrack a little bit. So COVID hit my business as soon as I stepped into Bali. Didn't realize that was going to happen. Lost all of my clients overnight. Okay. And my business, I started to rebuild my business again whilst I was out in Bali. And I went from pretty much zero to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures.
Wow.
But if I didn't change what I was putting in my body, I wouldn't have even had the motivation or the inclination or the inspiration to even continue, you know. But I did, bro. I lost every client overnight when COVID hit my business, because the business I was in at the time was marketing, and I was doing marketing for businesses that had to go and physically see their clients to close the deals. So I became surplus to requirements. So I had to build my business in a different part of the world. And it's funny how you were talking about coincidences earlier in terms of me getting on this call today. There was a coincidence that I moved out to Bali, and then I was able to build my business on the Australian side of the world because I was pretty much on the same time zone, right? And at that point in time, Australia hadn't really been hit with COVID. So they were more susceptible to the service I was offering. So it all fell into place as a part of my health journey kicking into place at the same time. Yeah, it worked quite well.
That's amazing, man. Like the coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I used to believe in them, but man, that's like when you look back at it now, you can, like Steve Jobs says, you can connect the dots looking back, right? And you can see how everything worked out. So how did you get the inspiration to pivot? So are you in a completely different business now, or the same business, just different area?
No, I'm in a completely different business now. Let's talk about that a little bit. So I came home from Bali, had a bunch of clients, business was, soaring, best it's ever been. And I realized that I was nothing but a glorified managing director or project manager, because I had no time. I was constantly chasing clients on this hamster wheel of, the agency life. And I had to think to myself, what was the reason why I started this journey in the first place? And the reason was like most entrepreneurs out there, they want the time, location, and financial freedom, right? I had none of that really. I had significant money in the bank, but I wasn't necessarily happy with the amount of time I had, and my stress levels began to creep up again because I'd basically bitten off more than I could chew and couldn't scale my team quick enough to be able to deal with the demand. So I had to look into pivoting into different business models. And it's funny how things come full circle, because I'm now back into sort of affiliate marketing and building my list, which is where I started back in 2015 when I embarked on an entrepreneurial journey. So yeah, I'm back there now, and I'm really enjoying it because I'm building things on my terms, and it's a lot more automated and a lot more passive. And it just makes me feel happier to be doing something that I'm more passionate about, versus just doing something for the sake of making the money. And another thing that I'd like to talk about, and might be valuable for people here, is that when I was in the agency gig dealing with the industry that I was dealing with, I felt like I had to change a bit of who I was as a human being to bring myself to the vibration of where they were. And I don't want to have to change who I am to make money and build a business.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So being where I am now and doing what I'm doing now, I found this newfound passion for what I'm doing, and it's like, yeah, this is cool. I'm building it on my terms, and I'm communicating, and I'm around the people that I actually can see myself hanging out with. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's really powerful, man. That's a complete life change, and I resonate what you said there about, you know, not sacrificing who you are to make money. That's huge, because then you lose your confidence in yourself.
Exactly. You start second guessing everything, because you basically turn your back on yourself, you turn your back on your core values, who you are as a person, and sacrifice that for a paycheck. I'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also, so that was the business side, which is amazing. Like, congratulations. And you want to touch on because this is something I tell people about you, because when you told me this, I was super happy for you. Like, you were like, oh, I just deposited on an investment property. I was like, whoa, that's dope. Because from where we were, like, the first call we had, and until then, that was like a massive transformation.
Yeah. I was in quite a low place, but yeah, so let's talk about that then. So, like I say, lots has gone on. So, but I think it's valuable that I share the story anyway. So, found this guy online, super nice guy, and I basically invested in mentorship, like anybody does when they're looking to learn how to do something. And I basically went through the process of understanding exactly what I would need to do to be able to build a property portfolio. So, you know, I made the deposit on my first house. Soon found out when I bought it that it probably wasn't the right fit for the strategy that I was looking to implement. So I ended up flipping it and turning a profit on it, which was great. I think I made double the amount that I invested in 3 months. So I've learned how to basically buy a property, flip it 3 months down the line, and, you know, make a tidy sum on it, which is great. Another thing that happened is that there's the same person that I was dealing with at the time, introduced me to another person, and I ended up going down the road of doing some passive forex trading. I think I sort of briefly talked to you about it, and I was sort of generating, you know, 10% on my money every month, and then all of a sudden the payments stopped. And long story short, it turned out that I was this guy was scamming people that had capital, okay, making them a bit of money through showing them how to flip a property, and then funneling them into a forex trading scam. So yeah, I ended up losing 50k last year to a trading scam. And that shook my world, because it was like I'd gone up here with my business and my health to then, you know, placing your trust in somebody that's just helped you make money, dude. You know, listen to this guy just helped me make money, right? So why would I not trust him to move me into another business venture? Anyway, lost 50k. What I thought is my life come crashing down. And what the lesson was that I learned is that, you know, never let somebody control your financial destiny. And, you know, it taught me to build things on solid foundations in the first place, you know. And that was the lesson I learned. But it was really difficult for me to overcome that, because I was second guessing who I could trust. You know, I was at a point where I was second guessing if I could trust friends that I've been friends with for like 10, 15 years. Because it was, you know, although it's just money, it cut me on an emotional level as well. So I was up in my head a lot about it. I went through a bit of healing with a therapist and stuff, and I'm back now, and I'm building my business and, you know, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But that was a tough lesson to learn. But one thing, the key takeaway that I want people to understand here is that build things on firm foundations from the beginning. There's no shortcut to stardom. You know, if something sometimes feels like it's too good to be true, it often is. So just do your due diligence, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. And wow, it's crazy looking back at it, because that going through that must have like sucked hard, like losing all that money, especially the circumstances. Like you trusted this person, that you just made money with them.
Yeah.
It's like almost like physically being stabbed, basically, by someone that you trust. It's like
Basically,
massive
yeah.
betrayal,
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of it goes on. I'm not the only person that's ever happened to, but I thought it would be value to share it because it's you just have to look at what the larger lesson is. What's the lesson? And the lesson for me was build things on firmer foundations, and only move forward with things that you feel good about. Because I ignored certain signals that were coming in because of the relationship I built with him.
Yep.
So I guess it was another lesson to listen to your intuition a little bit more as well. Yeah. So big things have happened over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and also adding to that, you started boxing. You took up a sport that you used to do back in the day, right?
Yeah. So in my early 20s, I used to box, and then I got on sort of the corporate ladder, and I was working mornings, afternoons, and nights, and all of that stuff that happens when you take on those kind of jobs. And I quit boxing, and it was something that I always wanted to do. And yeah, as part of embarking on the health journey, came back to the UK after being in Bali and started boxing, and had a amateur bout and stuff like that. And yeah, I've never felt fitter and stronger in my life. If you told me that when we first spoke on the phone, when I first touched down in Bali, that I don't know, 8 months down the line I would be in a boxing ring, um, you know boxing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, me being almost 33 now, I would have said, yeah, it's not possible. But I was there, and I'm proud of that, because it's like, as you get a little bit older, fear sets in a little bit more. It's like, can I get in that ring?
Mm,
You know what I mean?
right.
But I got in, and it was really good fun. And I came over some mental challenges myself, being in there, because when you're in a ring, you're in there for a reason. You're in there to get hit, right? And nobody wants to get hit if they don't have to get hit. But it's something that I wanted to do for myself, to experience that, and overcome those mental blocks that you put in place that don't need to be there. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you for doing that, because that's like not easy, man, to get in the ring. It's like that whole the man in the arena. Like everyone wants. It's not easy being the man in the arena, man.
Mm-hmm. Not all eyes on you, right? And
Yeah.
thing with a sport like boxing, it is all on you. You can't blame it on your 10 other teammates on the football pitch. It's all on you, about your preparation mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what were the key takeaways from the coaching? Would you say?
So from working with you, is the thing that I learned is accountability. One of the main things is accountability. Having somebody there that's walked the path and has got to the destination as to where you want to be. It's having that accountability, somebody to talk to about the challenges that you're facing. I think a few times we hopped on the phone and I said, I feel like this, or I feel like this, and you just, you course correct people. So it's just having somebody there. We all think sometimes, from an egotistical standpoint, oh, I don't need a coach. I can go in the gym and lift weights whenever I want. And that's not the attitude to have. You've got to leave your ego at the door, and that's the first thing that you mention in your coaching program. Leave your ego at the door, forget about everything that you think you know or what you've learned in the past, and just go through the training, and learn what it is that you need to learn to go from where I was. Pretty much in my head, I was obese, I was fat,
Really?
wasn't happy with myself. That was in my mind. I
Mm.
look back now and think to myself, Phaibion, you wasn't obese. You were overweight, but you weren't obese. But I went from that to, pretty much now showing signs of a six pack, and, packing on lean muscle every month, and it's just about following the right blueprint, and having somebody that you can hold yourself accountable to, and also somebody that's going to hold you accountable. That's important. but you got to be ready. You know, it's not something that you can just dip in and out of. You've got to be committed. Like with anything, you know, the cliche, you got to be all in. It's true.
Yeah.
You got to be all in.
But what do you put your consistency down to? Because we stopped working together a while ago, and you're still being consistent. So that's actually one of the things that I like to see, is because like I don't want people to need me for like years. Like, yeah, that'll be lucrative for me, but that's actually not helping you. So what you're experiencing is exactly what I preach, right? Like you work for me for a few months and then you don't need me anymore. So that's pretty much like the best way to do it. So what do you put your consistency down to?
Well, number one is you know, the way I approach life anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to be all in. I've got to be organized. You know, I structure my day out. I set myself up for success. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what entrepreneurs do. But it's having the right person. You know, it's having somebody that believes in you. You know, that believes that, you know, that believes in their own journey and in their own product. You know, there's nothing better than you know, being on the phone with somebody or watching a training, and you can feel that person is truly there to help you and they believe, because that instills a level of belief inside you that you can achieve that. You know, so it's all down to what's in your you know, in your program, that's allowed me to be consistent. Number one, it works. Number two, it's taught in a way that you can easily understand it, and it's not complicated. It's just about showing up and doing the work. That's it. So, you know, as an entrepreneur that has that mindset already, to then be able to partner with another entrepreneur that believes and helps you believe that you can achieve, then it was pretty easy for me to continue on the journey. I was ready though, you know, I was ready.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you were ready. And what was it that made you ready? Was it you tried other things before, or?
Not even that really. That I've not really hired any coaches or gone through any sort of fitness training programs and stuff. I just had like images in my mind of what I looked like when I was like in my mid-20s, and I was approaching, you know, I was 30 then, and I just didn't like the way I looked, and you know, I'd sacrificed, you know, that aspect of myself for so long. It's like I was ignoring my inner self. You know, it's screaming at me. My inner child was screaming at me to do something about it. You know, it was just a perfect timing for me, because all I'd done is sacrifice my health, my relationships, and everything else for my business. You know, for this entrepreneurial journey, for making this, you know, $10,000 a month. You got to get there, whatever it is, whatever marketing message you're listening to is where you tend to is what you tend to flock towards. And I needed to unplug and you know, go within, and that's what I've done over the last couple of years.
And it's definitely paid off. Like you mentioned that you had a therapist as well, which is amazing. I think everyone should have a therapist.
Absolutely, I have somebody that I talk to and work through, you know, things that come up energetically or in the mind. Just having somebody to do you know, energy clearing and stuff like that, it works quite well. And you know, that's where I am. I'm just on this journey of self-development and self-discovery, instead of just business development and making money. There's a big difference. You know? Self-development and self-discovery versus business development and making money is they're complete polarizing things, you know.
And what's next for you then? What are you most excited about now?
I'm just excited about building this new business adventure that I'm on. I'm looking forward to traveling again. Now this COVID-19's calmed itself down. Just removed my passport. Looking to get out to Southeast Asia as soon as possible. And I'm just looking forward to building more relationships with people that are more aligned to the direction that I'm going in now. I think one thing that I have sort of sacrificed over the years, especially living in, you know what it's like living in the UK, the vibration is very different. The mentality is very different. So I've got friends that I value, but I can't sit and have a conversation like what me and you are having now. One thing I'm really excited about is getting back out there again and, connecting with more like-minded people. And in turn, that will help me grow more as an individual. That's where I'm at, man.
Yeah, it's so important to be connected with other entrepreneurs.
It is,
because that's where you really start to see what's possible, and just get better ideas and just more inspired for life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like having these conversations with you. It's always refreshing. And I'm always sort of plugging into the groups that I'm a part of for different products I've purchased and stuff, and hopping on these mastermind calls. So it's difficult being in the UK sometimes because there's not a lot going on, and part of me wishes that I didn't leave Bali when I did.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I'm looking forward to getting back out there again soon, I think the main thing is that I'm building a business on different foundations now. So I won't be hustling hard when I'm out in Bali this time. I'll be cruising along, which is the mindset, which is the energy there. I'm looking forward to getting back out there. Yeah.
Sit on the beach sipping the coconut.
yeah.
So anyone watching this, they're still watching, then they're clearly very interested in what you have to say, which of course anyone would be, because you have a lot of value to offer. So what would your last comments be to someone who's on the fence about getting coaching, or they want to see if this is the real deal? You know how it goes.
You got to ask yourself some serious questions. I think the biggest question you need to ask yourself, if you feel like you're overweight, or if you feel like you're working as hard as you possibly can and not seeing enough fruits for your labor, or if you're struggling to find the motivation to get the stuff done that you need to get done in a day-to-day basis, you need to ask yourself, how long am I going to let this continue for before it becomes more detrimental than it already is? You got to ask yourself some serious questions. The question that I asked myself was, what are my 40s going to look like? Not even my 40s, what are my 30s going to look like? Because I'm 32 now. A couple of years ago is when we first, embarked on the journey. I was asking myself, I don't want to be feeling overweight and having no energy and, having no confidence and not feeling attractive about myself throughout my 30s. I want to be enjoying them. I want to be able to walk up to any woman I want and talk to them because I feel good about myself, feel confident, feel strong, and that's what it's what any male wants, really. They want to feel confident, they want to feel attractive, they want to feel strong, they want to feel motivated. And it all starts with, fixing what's going on up here regarding what you think about working out and health and eating and all of that stuff, and leaving your ego at the door and just, being open to new information. Like what you just posted on your Facebook, it was a reminder for me to keep going on the bone broth journey. Just keep going on it, because you reminded me of the ultimate benefit. So ask yourself some serious questions. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? And am I going to get there staying the way I am? And any person that values themselves, that loves and cares for themselves, or wants to start loving and caring for themselves, will understand that they need to make a decision now, not tomorrow, not the day after. The decision needs to be made now,
Absolutely. All right, that's really good advice. And we can close it there, because that was perfect. So cool, Phaibion, man, thanks, man. You, again, like you always drop in the wisdom, man. It's good to talk to you again. And thanks for sharing.
I love talking to you, man. It's always an inspiration. You've inspired me a lot on my journey. And thanks so much for having me, man.
Thanks.